My rent went up 12%, but my raise was only 5%. You don't have to be an engineer to figure this out. 12% is greater than 5%, so that means I lost 7% somewhere. I need to figure out a way to just make more money or make my money grow faster than whatever inflation is.
Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. If you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, resident smash buyer when my wife lets me. We're giving away 10 million sats over on YouTube. All you have to do is subscribe on YouTube. You'll be entered to win 10 million sats. We're on our way to number 99, Kristen, Stuart's wife, the beloved.
Yeah.
She'll be on sometime near the end of July.
So Jarrett here, he's number 89. This is another guy from the Raleigh Bitcoin meetup. So we're going to be getting Jarrett's Bitcoin story today. But before we do, help our Satillionaires out there get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, so my name is Jarrett. I live here in the Raleigh area now. Just moved here from Michigan. To my fiat mining job, aka how I earn my dollars, I'm a structural engineer. So I get paid to design buildings, which is cool. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I've got a wife, 2 cats, and I love to stack sats.
Yeah.
So that's about it. It's pretty simple.
That's the world's greatest hobby right there, stacking sats.
So great.
Just watching that go up.
I love how you refer to your job as where you go to mine fiat.
Yeah.
That's wonderful as well.
I feel like it makes, for me, I used to have a resentment toward my day job. And Bitcoin turned that on its head and kind of turned it into almost like a video game where I'm like, I want to go in there and grind out resources so that I can get it and turn it into Bitcoin.
Right.
You know what I mean? It made my day job more like it made me more motivated to go and like do a good job to earn the most money possible because I wanted the most sats possible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what it was like for you before you found Bitcoin, or maybe even better than that is like, what were some of the conditions that led you to discover Bitcoin?
Yeah, so I'll start with the first time I heard about Bitcoin. It was fall of 2017. I was a freshman in college studying civil engineering, and I was just walking to the dining hall with some friends, and one of my buddies was talking about how much like he's up like 200% or something on his Bitcoin that he bought. And it's like, he bought in at like, I don't know, $500 and he's at like 1,000. Math isn't right. But anyways, he made a lot of money on Bitcoin. And we were like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Sell it immediately. And so after like badgering him and saying, dude, you just made so much, take your profits. He basically said, no, I'm not doing that. And then some time went on and Bitcoin obviously came back down. And I was like, oh, interesting. So Bitcoin was kind of living in the back of my mind. And at that point, I was a freshman in college and I was just doing as much as I could to not graduate college with debt. I wanted to graduate debt free. So I was doing all the extracurriculars, working an internship, and just trying to get as much money as possible so I didn't have to take out student loans. And so kind of got into like learning personal finance that way and investing in the stock market and eventually learning about real estate investing because I like buildings, so it just naturally feels like I should go into real estate investing. And I also kind of had like just a general distrust in government from my childhood, just seeing how the legal system works. It's not really fair. Politicians constantly lie to us and, just a general distrust in government, I'd say. So that's kind of like the precursor of who I was before I got into Bitcoin. I was really interested in personal finance and investing. Thought I was going to make my millions through real estate investing. Eventually got all the way to the point of I was about to buy an investment property in my hometown, and it was the day before closing. And I had been advised by almost everybody in my life that I shouldn't go through with this deal and I should back out. So I did that. I backed out of this real estate deal that I was going to do. And yeah, it was a really good decision. I lost about $2,000 just in earnest money and inspection fees. But knowing like the risk of going through with that real estate deal was way higher than the reward that would come out of it. And so that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to pause this real estate investing thing and I'll come back to it later when I actually have enough money to make it make sense. And so for about 2 months there, I was like, actually, let me backtrack, because this was after I had originally bought Bitcoin. In January of 2022, I had done a little bit of research because I had some time over like Christmas break. So I was home and just kind of went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole a bit and realized, this is a good way to invest and probably make some quick cash. So I did my research and I decided I'm going to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and $1,000 worth of Ethereum and move them to cold storage. And I was like, that seems like a relatively good thing to do. You know, Graham Stephan's a pretty popular YouTuber. And so that's kind of the advice that he was saying. And so I was like, that sounds like it'll work pretty well. So I did that. And then a month later, it dropped. And then it dropped some more. And then it dropped some more. So I bought in around Bitcoin's price of 58K in 2022.
58K, gang.
Yep, that's right. And then it dropped all the way down to 16. I had been purposefully not looking at the price because I didn't want to, have paper hands and sell something at a big loss. And so I just kind of ignored it for a long time, hoping that it would come back up. And then eventually that real estate story kind of happened that next year in 2023. And then that summer of 2023 is really when I started to go down the real Bitcoin rabbit hole and like listen to the, What is Money podcasts, and just really, I had a lot of questions and just like spending a lot of time on the internet asking those questions into Google. And this was before AI was a big thing. So would have been better if I had AI, but basically just asking, what is money? How does it work? What's the history of money? Why are we using paper dollars today instead of, something else? And then, that takes me to all of this stuff and end up learning that dollars are basically a Ponzi. The only way that dollar has value is because the government says it has value. It's not actually tied to anything. And then with Bitcoin, we might get into this a little bit more. I learned that it's scarce. All of the Bitcoin has already been created. There's 21 million of it, and it's just locked away. And that throughout time, every 10 minutes, more Bitcoin gets released into the market for people to buy. And yeah, there's a fixed supply with Bitcoin. And it's like, I understood what real estate was and how it gained value, because while there isn't a fixed supply of real estate, there is a fixed supply of land. There's only so much land you can buy until you build land, like in Abu Dhabi or, Dubai.
Boston.
They're making more Boston.
They're making more land. Yeah. So, but that's really, really expensive to do that. So it's cost prohibitive. And so that kind of resonated with me. And I learned like scarcity drives value. And then I just kind of kept thinking about that, and it happens in multiple ways. Like scarcity drives value. There's a scarce amount of gold, drives its value up. There's a scarce amount of Bitcoin, drives its value up. Scarce amount of land drives its value up. There's a scarce amount of racehorses that you can bet on at the race. So that drives each of those values up. There's a scarce amount of, 6 foot, men out there. So women are like, that drives their value up, and that's what women want. So there's exactly.
Yo, I'm 5'10".
Ooh, that could never be me, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, could never not have a 6 be the first number in my height. Okay, check the driver's license, bro.
I would like to state for the record that my driver's license also states 6'0".
Whoa, lucky man.
My wife differs. She says I'm 5'11" and a half, but
boo.
She's got to keep you humble though.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a full 6 feet here, wifey. Okay.
Anyways, back to Bitcoin. Yeah, I just realized scarcity drives value. You miss people more when they're gone, when they're scarce. You miss your parents after they go. And that really drives value because you don't have any time left with them. So thinking about that, it comes back to Bitcoin, and it's like there can only be 21 million. And today there's, on the Clark Moody dashboard, there's how many out in supply? Like 19.8 million.
Yeah.
So that means we're almost at the cap.
Yeah.
If you know the whole math of it all, we're going to get to the full diluted cap like by 2150 or something like that.
Yeah.
Long time from now. But yeah, scarcity drives value. And if you can remember that, buy scarce assets such as land and Bitcoin, sometimes gold, and you're probably going to have a higher net worth over time. So that's kind of what I realized is I was almost there with the real estate thing, but real estate just has so many more risks. You know, house can burn down, flooding, landslides, bad tenants,
property tax, insurance.
Yeah. So that's actually coming back to like increases in property taxes and whatnot. That was something that I learned, and it drove my like understanding of inflation deeper and deeper. Because when I was first starting in my career after college, I was getting paid a decent salary for the location that I was living in. It was a low cost of living, so I was getting good money. And then a year passed, so I got my raise, and I did some of the math, like, you know, and that raise was like a 5% raise, let's just say. And I was renting an apartment at that time, and like a month later, my lease renewed and my rent went up. And I did the calculation on that. My rent went up 12%, but my raise was only 5%. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, you don't have to be an engineer to figure this out, but 12% is greater than 5%. So that means I lost 7% somewhere. Where does that come from? Oh, that means I can afford to live here 7% less. So that means I'm getting pinched out here while, you know, not necessarily faulting the apartment complex because their prices went up and everything. So it's really just like, I need to figure out a way to just make more money or make my money grow faster than whatever inflation is. And so just having a general distrust of government, I was looking at the CPI, you know, inflation stats that get released like every month or so. And basically like comparing whatever that month's inflation was to whatever I was seeing in real life did not match whatsoever. So it's like, they'll say it was 3% year over year or something, but in reality, you know, my property tax on my house went up 12%. Actually, it was more like 16%. My home insurance went up 17%. My rent was going up, you know, all this stuff. Basically, life is getting more expensive all the time and measured in dollars. If you measured it in Bitcoin and Satoshis, everything's getting cheaper over time because scarcity drives value. So, yeah, just over time, you learn these things and they stick with you. And then you're like, why am I not buying as much Bitcoin as possible? Because scarcity drives value. So, yeah, over time, I just did what I could to try to make extra money, you know, negotiate at my job for higher raises, realize those weren't coming, and you have to jump ship and go to a place that is going to pay you what you're worth. And, yeah, just trying to make more money and stack sats.
Gosh, it is that simple. It's that simple, man.
So easy.
God, scarcity drives value.
Now, it also needs to be a useful thing because, like, unicorn farts might be incredibly scarce, but there's no value there.
And how do you bottle them?
Very carefully.
I bet you could figure it out.
So there is something to be said for the utility of Bitcoin coupled with its scarcity, making this more tightly braided value package, right? But to your point, among the class of things that are useful, like land, real estate, gold, Bitcoin, their scarcity does drive that value up. And the more scarce they are, the more the value is driven up. Bitcoin's the most scarce, it's verifiably scarce. And the more useful it is, the value goes up. Bitcoin is also the most useful. It's the most useful and the most scarce. It is the greatest.
Yeah.
So, you know, Bitcoin is going to be $10 million for 10 million sats.
I have
so
no
absolutely smash the subscribe button,
No doubt.
please,
No
for
doubt.
your own good. Okay, for your own safety in the year 2060, do it now.
Wait, the other thing Jarrett said though was life is perpetually and forever getting more expensive in dollar terms. It always will be that way because it's a Ponzi scheme. They're just printing. That's all they can do.
Yeah, you were reminding me of playing a platformer like Mario, where there are some platforms where as soon as you jump on it, it starts to slowly sink and you have to jump to the next platform before it drops out entirely.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Getting a career with a certain salary kind of feels like that. You can't even continue to work the job that you might have even enjoyed because you can see that platform is about to drop out completely and you must jump to the next one. And it's just like a series of trying to jump from one platform to a higher platform so that you can stay out ahead of this environment that has been created for us.
Also, you just don't get debased so that, you can afford to live in the society that is very expensive in America. So, and it's like, I've thought about options of, going abroad and like living in South America, Europe, other places, Asia. And ultimately what it came down to was, okay, how am I going to earn money in those nations? Okay, I can take my structural engineering skills to those nations and they'll be applicable. But the pay for what I know won't be as good. Like if I'm getting paid, as a junior engineer, say, I'm going to go low on this estimate, but $70,000 in America, that might be like 30,000 in like South America somewhere, or even in the UK, that might be like 50,000.
Yes.
Because salaries in the UK for engineering are typically a bit lower. So it's like, even if I were to go to another country, I wouldn't get as much money. Granted, you have to factor in the calculation that your living expenses are probably going to be a lot cheaper too. But then you got to like say, well, I do want to come back to America and visit family, and that's going to cost money. And then there's there's so many risks with like moving abroad that, even if you are an expat and you leave America, you still have to pay taxes unless you completely denounce your citizenship, which is a long and convoluted and expensive process. So it's like America really just traps you. Well, I'll say the American government traps you. America as a whole is a great place. The U.S. government traps you in here, taxes you out of oblivion, and then tells you that, we're making your life better every year because inflation's lower than what you think it is.
Yeah.
Because we're smarter than you. But in reality, it's all a power grab.
I love the way that like you clearly have a mind that's able to see kind of like the whole picture, and
the structure,
yeah.
You can see the structure,
see the whole thing. And like, well, it's going to be, I got to factor this in and I got to take that out. In fact, so yeah, I appreciate that. Respect for that.
Yeah.
But wait a second. Before you interrupted me with your Mario analogy, which was decent. Pretty good.
Put it in the comments if you like that. Okay. All my video gamers love that.
Decent.
I think it was good.
Decent. Okay. Now, life is getting more expensive in dollar terms all the time, now and forever, into oblivion. It's getting cheaper in Bitcoin terms now and forever.
Insanely cheaper.
Unless you're in a situation where you're set up to out earn the decrease in the value of the dollar year after year after year forever, you're gonna be in that situation where you're getting pinched, just like Jarrett described. All you have to do to fix that is just switch your money, just change to Bitcoin, fixes the whole problem.
Done.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we put it into, a logistical framework that makes sense for everyday people, because I'll just explain what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing right now is I get paid every 2 weeks for my W-2 job. I take that money in my bank account and I send a portion of it after I've factored in, okay, I need this much for rent the next month, this much for my bills. I'll say I've got 10,000 in my checking account. I need 5,000 of that to stay there so I can cover my bills for at least the next month and everything. That means I have $5,000 left over. What am I going to do with that $5,000? What normal people are going to tell you is, oh, you should put that in a Roth IRA. You should, put it in index funds, or, just go live up, be a normal person and go into crazy debt and do that stuff. You shouldn't do that. You should save for retirement. Don't get me wrong. There will be a time where you can no longer work. So you should save for that time so you have money. But let's assume you are already doing that through, say, your work 401k and everything, and you're contributing a good amount to where you can retire at 65 and you've done the math. Okay, we're good there. The extra money that you have each month, that should go into Bitcoin for a long-term savings goal that you have.
Yeah.
Say it's in 3 years, you want to buy yourself a new car. Take that money, put it into Bitcoin, let it sit there. And in 3 years, you have a relatively good probability that you will have more economic value, aka more money in terms of dollars to go buy that car you want. And so for me personally, I'm saving up to buy land and build a house. That's, what I want to do. I'm a structural engineer. I love buildings. So it's like my dream is to build my own house. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my money after I've got my retirement set up and I've got my plan for that. I take my excess money, I transfer it to a Bitcoin exchange. The one I'm using right now is called Fold. And I buy Bitcoin on Fold. I pay 0 fees because I've already paid my $100 annual fee on it. So that means I don't have to pay extra. So I buy the Bitcoin on Fold. I wait a day or two for it to, go through the mempool. And then once it's settled, I transfer that out and into my cold storage so that it's much safer.
Yeah.
So it's really just that simple. You take your excess money each month, you buy Bitcoin on an exchange, you take it off the exchange once it's settled, put it into cold storage, and then let it sit and do nothing.
Bam. I actually have 3 things I want to hit. I'm going to go in reverse order here. Number 1, I wholeheartedly agree that everyone should be driving every spare dollar into Bitcoin because it would be like buying a pack of ice and leaving it out on the counter. It's just going to melt, period. You need to be getting that ice cube into a freezer before it melts. So every extra dollar you have, get it into Bitcoin. Number 2, you should save for retirement. I just think my retirement's going to be Bitcoin. So I'm just going to buy Bitcoin. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And in my case, my retirement is Bitcoin.
Bam. Okay. So do you kind of have like a little, this is my Bitcoin for retirement, and then here's the Bitcoin for the land and the house?
Yes, that's right. So as I said earlier, I was really into personal finance when I was like 18, 19. So I discovered, Roth IRA is the best way to go for me at that point. So I started front loading my Roth IRA as much as I could when I was in early college and then eventually, into the workforce. And then, so I built up, a good chunk for someone my age in my Roth IRA. And then after listening to Bitcoin podcasts, I realized I should really have this in Bitcoin because I was investing it in just like index funds before, which was doing good. But like, if you really know the truth about how, index funds work, they're just tracking inflation plus or minus 2%.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're comparing index funds to inflation, best case scenario, you're gaining 2% each year off of inflation. And that's just not gonna, it's just too small to get anywhere. So I was like, I need to have all of my money in Bitcoin so that it doesn't melt away, like you said. So I transferred my Roth IRA at my institution and I put it into I use Unchained. And so I transferred that money to Unchained, bought Bitcoin with it. And now my Roth IRA is just sitting at Unchained with Bitcoin. They hold the Bitcoin in an account, but you custody the keys. And it's 2 of 3 keys.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have 2 separate hardware signing devices, a ledger and a cold card. And I use those to basically sign transactions inside of my Roth IRA. So before they could even buy the Bitcoin, I had to sign that transaction with both of my hardware signing devices.
And they keep one for themselves.
And they keep one just in case you lose or pass away. And they have a way of moving that Bitcoin, but you need to have, like, if you were to pass away, you need to show them a death certificate and everything just to make sure and get that money transferred.
So that's awesome. I'm going to look into that. And Satillionaires in the comments, if you have any experience with Unchained or any of this business, let me know. Because I really am getting unsatisfied with the paper Bitcoin that I have with Fidelity.
You should be.
It's not real Bitcoin. It's not real Bitcoin. It's just a number on a sheet.
It's a promise.
Now, Fidelity of all of them is probably the most, I would say, trustworthy.
Of all the Bitcoin ETFs, I would recommend Fidelity's the most because they're the only ones that take care of their own Bitcoin.
Yep.
BlackRock doesn't even have any Bitcoin themselves.
Our soon-to-be friend Brian Armstrong of Coinbase has all the other ETFs.
What do you think about that, Jarrett? The fact that Coinbase has accumulated so much dang Bitcoin.
Well, I think it comes down to the question is, what's better, centralization or decentralization?
Decentralization.
Think about it. Yeah. Us as Bitcoiners, decentralization. But if you're like, I don't know, your sister Lydia, she probably thinks centralization is a good thing because then the government can take care of her pension. She doesn't need to worry about it. My sister's also a teacher, so I can empathize with that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you need to stop viewing the government as a parent that's going to take care of you, because the only thing that's guaranteed is they're going to tax you to oblivion, and they're going to say, you can't do this when I say so.
Mm-hmm.
You can't leave your house because there's a virus outside.
Mm.
And that is anti-freedom, anti-rights, you know.
Let me take you back one more layer as well, which was this idea of living somewhere with weaker money while earning stronger money, and just taking advantage of that disparity there, right? Because if you can make $150K US dollar and live in Vietnam, where they have whatever money they have, you know, you could go out and have the nicest meal ever for you and like 7 friends, and the bill comes and it's like 21 US dollars. You're like, woo, here you go. Bitcoin is to the US dollar as the US dollar is to the Vietnamese currency. If we simply adopt Bitcoin as our money, then we can continue to live here in America and have that same hilarious currency strength disparity that an expat would have, right? So you evaluated a couple of other countries out there, couldn't find one that was a good fit for you, decided to stay in America. I don't particularly want to leave America either, although I've been reading a lot about Iceland. Seems pretty dope.
Too cold for me.
America's the greatest, period. Period. I mean, it is.
Cut that up, Reg. Put that on so that the government doesn't shut us down.
America is the greatest. I love the distinction between America and the U.S. government. They are two different things.
Yes.
And if you are one of those smaller countries, like say Vietnam, for example, not to beat up them, but like, who's going to win in a fight over money or resources? America. They have the biggest military, the biggest navy, the most firepower, everything. You know, just nuked the crap out of Iran's, you know, nuclear facilities. And it's like, there is no second best when it comes to military strength. However, that should not be, you can be proud of that as an American, because that means you're protected from other people and nations. However, what's stopping the government from using that military against you?
Yeah.
The taxpayer.
And that also, you know, your physical defense comes at the expense of your money having no protection. Because they're like, you know what, we're just going to give ourselves more of this so that we can continue to do whatever we want. But if you choose Bitcoin, then you're like, you know what, I'm living in America, which is great, but my money is Bitcoin. So then you go out and have, you know, a 3-course meal with 7 of your friends, and the bill comes to you and it's $1,200. But to you, that's like $12, because the cost of everything has gone down by like 99%. Over any given period, the cost of everything goes down by 99% in Bitcoin terms. So it's you can be like a Bitcoin expat here in America, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. And then you don't have to take you have 3 kids. I have 3 kids. I mean, can you imagine if you lived in Vietnam, what your kids would be like when you came back to America?
Shoo.
They'd be like, I mean, you know, I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for my life.
Yeah.
You know, to have to go and raise them in some foreign country. Nothing against Vietnam. Beautiful place, I'm sure. But I had a guy who on the 4th of July, his son came up to him and he goes, "Hey, Dad, what's the second best country in the world?"
That's funny.
We were like,
"Ooh, that's a good question."
No, I can't. Don't even know where to start.
Dude, second best country in the world.
I would say whoever's got the most freedom for its citizens,
Mm.
because that's what really it boils down to: is are you free to do whatever you want, whenever you want, within reason? You know,
Yeah.
Like if you can't go outside because your government says you might get someone sick, or you might get sick and die. It's like, yeah, same thing about driving. But like, what, are you going to stop me from driving on the highway because I might hit someone or someone might hit me? It's like, that's just life.
Yeah, there are some strange distinctions between what I mean, we're allowed to do incredibly dangerous things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My gut would go to probably either Iceland or Finland, but I'd have to look. Let me tell you a quick story about Iceland that I learned. They have their own currency, the krona. They do not use the euro. And I thought, I just assumed they use the euro. They have their own money. Okay. It is a closed value network. All right.
Okay.
The krona, it works in Iceland.
Oh.
That's it. Right.
Okay.
So in 2008, with the financial. I've been watching those documentaries called Trainwreck. Have you seen those on Netflix?
Yeah.
Trainwreck, poop cruise.
Yeah. Did you watch that one?
I watched it and I was like, oh, they're all peeing in the showers.
Oh, God.
And they're like taking doo-doos and they're taking doo-doos and then toilet paper, more doo-doos and then toilet paper. And the chef on board goes, it looked like lasagna.
Oh my God.
And then eventually a tugboat shows up and starts pulling on them, but it tilts the ship and all the pee-pee goes,
God.
and it's coming down everywhere.
Oh my God.
So anyways.
What does this podcast turn into?
Yeah. Oh, dude. So anyways,
Brain rot.
they're gonna do a documentary called Trainwreck, financial crisis. But Iceland did not bail out any of its banks or organizations.
Nope.
They just let them die. They're like, y'all want to be a bunch of knuckleheads? Go ahead and die. All right? Go ahead and just absolutely bankrupt yourself off the face of the earth. And what that did was it preserved the value of their krona. So they protected their individual citizens and they absolutely let their institutions and organizations just fully die.
As it should be.
And so many institutions and organizations in America should be dead right now.
Mm-hmm.
There should be like 2 airlines left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they should just be dead. And the 2 airlines left should be like, we will literally do whatever you want. Please come on our planes. Every seat's first class, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, we actually took out 50% of the seats. Now y'all got 4 feet of leg room, baby. You know what I mean? Like they should be dying to get us on. But all of our companies in America just got to continue being pieces of garbage through that whole sequence. So anyway,
specifically the banks.
Let me get this before we wrap up here. Let me ask you then, and I might have heard this a little bit earlier around scarcity, but if you're in our seat, if you're the host and co-host of Sat Chats, and it's your job to help a pre-coiner understand why Bitcoin is something that they need to stop, drop, and learn everything about before they do anything else, what would you say to them? What is your pre-coiner pitch?
I've tried to orange pill a few of my friends and family, and it just doesn't really work. And that's probably because I'm not a good explainer. But
yes, you are.
I would say just remember that scarcity drives value. The government will never stop printing dollars. Dollars are melting. You will lose value if you hold dollars. Buy Bitcoin to preserve that value, and don't sell it for a long period of time. And you will be wealthier beyond imagine.
Yeah. Wealth beyond imagination. Let's go.
Yes.
So let's recap the conversation with Jarrett then. So we got number 89 here in the studio. That's 10 away from my wife, dude. Woo! I'm excited. I'm not going to be nervous. I'm just going to be relaxed. You know what I mean? So Jarrett came from Michigan around 18 or 19 years old. After building up a healthy distrust of the gouvernement, he decided that financial literacy was important to him. So he spent some time learning about money, how to budget, how to invest in the stock market, real estate, other places. Worked hard through university to come out of that sucker debt-free, which is outstanding. Became a structural engineer and effectively took a step back and started studying the structure of finance and monetary policy and nation states and how that whole thing interplays. Which is really interesting too, because Michael Saylor has that kind of engineering mindset as well. I feel like engineers really like latch onto Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But you were going to make a real estate deal. And interestingly enough, everybody in your life was like, don't do it. And what I like is he listened. Listen. You sought the group conscience and then you listened to the group conscience, even though it was counter to what you were attempting to do.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
Not naturally anyway. I have to force myself to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good because you backed out of that deal at the last minute and it would not have been a good deal for you. And you decided to come on down to Raleigh for your fiat mining job. which is great. Yeah.
Technically, no. It was for my wife's fiat mining job.
Yeah.
I work remote, so I'm good.
Oh, hey ho, hey ho.
Best ride at Disney.
Yeah, it's off to Fiat we go. Yeah. So you can work remotely. So your wifey's like, I got to go do some, and you're like, let's roll. So now you're here in North Carolina. Where am I going to find some new friends? The Raleigh Bitcoin Meetup. It's every Tuesday at Crafty's in 5 Points. Just show up. It's awesome.
Steve's Bar.
Steve's Bar. Yep, exactly. So you found some friends there. You heard about Bitcoin Pizza Day. You come to us. You jump in the seat. Bada bing, bada boom, right? Outstanding. And we talked about how Bitcoin is scarce. Land is scarce. Gold is scarce. Bitcoin is scarce. Land, every time a volcano erupts, I'm like, debased. And gold, I mean, I think NASA is sending a probe out to some type of meteor or asteroid that has like 700 jabillion units of gold in it. Like someone on Reddit was like, that amount of gold would make every single person on Earth like a billionaire. Obviously, that amount of gold would take the price of gold down to nothing. Yes. But like at today's valuation, the gold in that one asteroid in the entire galaxy universe would make everybody on Earth
do that?
a squillionaire.
Do you like throw a lasso around that thing and then just like start swimming home with it? Strap a little rocket ship? Like, you coming with me, bud?
Yeah. Honestly, the way space works, I bet if you could land a little like thruster device around the backside,
bolt it into it,
a couple of quick thrusts can change its trajectory, and you're good. You can just like and it would. And then, with enough mathematics, right? You could smash so much gold into the earth that gold would become value free. So debased. It's just Bitcoin. 21 million Bitcoin. That's it. It's incredibly useful. It's incredibly scarce. It cannot be debased. The government can't control it. Stop what you're doing and put every dollar you have that's free, meaning you're not going to need it for a while, into Bitcoin, and you'll become wealthy beyond your imagination. So I'm sold. Are you sold?
Yeah. I'm resold.
Are you sold? Are you sold? You better be sold. Smash the subscribe button if you are sold on Bitcoin, okay? Because you'll be entered to win 10 million Satoshis.
And tell all your friends and family to do the same thing too.
Exactly. Because those 10 million sats are going to be worth that entire freaking gold asteroid after enough time has passed. So let's take a brain break here.
All right. So, Jarrett, we have the lemon beet hummus from Ithaca Hummus.
This is my favorite part.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like you've seen some episodes. I mean, you know my sister's name.
Yeah.
What did you think of her episode?
She reminded me a lot of my sister.
Yeah.
My sister's also a teacher. That's part of it. But just the way they act and think and talk. Pretty similar. So I can empathize with you. But yeah, I've been looking forward to this part. I'm actually not a hummus guy.
Okay.
Not because I don't like it, but I think it's because I just haven't had enough to really understand it. Like I used to hate root beer as a kid because I never had it. And then I had root beer. I was like, oh, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be one of those moments.
Well, especially if you like beets, but not just any beets. These are raw beets blended into this. It's not like a canned beet. It's not earthy. It's
not a pickled beet.
Not pickled. It's nice and sweet. It's got a little nice lemon in there. So good. All right. So lemon beet hummus. Let's see what you think.
Cheers.
That's great.
That's like, pretty lemony.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of our flavors have that lemony kind of acidic finish to them, which is nice because it like cleanses your palate, and then you go back for more, and you get the beginning. You get the beginning flavors again, and then just kind of rinse and repeat. You know? What I mean?
Yeah. That's yummy. I like to smush it all over my tongue to like activate all the taste buds. See here.
The red from it makes it look artificial. Like it looks like it should taste like strawberry sorbet or something. But obviously doesn't. But I'm not a hummus guy, but I'm sold.
Yeah, let's go.
Now, we've got lots of wonderful flavors as well. We got black bean, jalapeno lime. We're going to give you some coupons.
Sweet.
Here in Raleigh, you can find it at Harris Teeter, Publix, Whole Foods, Sprouts,
Wegmans.
I mean,
Soon, Costco.
Yep.
Soon. So that tub of hummus is yours. This Genesis pack is also yours.
This is new.
So number 83, Aladdin, is at the head of BTC trading cards. Each year, he makes a new set that covers different topics to help you learn more about Bitcoin. Almost like breaking it down into flashcards for beginners. He releases 21,000 packs a year. No more, no less. And those cards do not get
Scarcity
reprinted.
drives value.
Exactly. And recently, one of his collectible cards sold on the secondhand market for half a Bitcoin.
What?
Bro.
No way.
That's for you as well.
Thank you, sir.
And we have one last thing to offer you here.
All right. So it sounds like,
how could I forget?
yes, exactly. We believe in value for value here at Sat Chats. And so in appreciation for your time, we're going to offer you your choice between $50. What did I call those yesterday? Something bad.
Something like 50 of those.
Or $50 in Bitcoin. I got my nice, friendly, safe Clark Moody Bitcoin dashboard.
Chris
really
is home.
Easy to
Chris is home.
It's really easy to calculate. We've
There
got the exchange rate is $108,920 for one whole Bitcoin, which sats per dollar is 918. So I'm going to say 918 times 50.
One
Nice.
calculation.
Oh, God, I love it. I miss you.
Yeah.
45,900 Satoshis
nice
or 50 of these.
You know, my wife texted me this morning saying that she really wants a triple dipper from Chili's. And so I could use that tonight to get that triple dipper.
Just like my sister.
I know. But you guys know who I am. I'm stacking the sats.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Boom. Come
Lower
on,
that
dude.
time preference. Yeah.
And number 89, Jarrett knows that if he stacks the sats today, 10 years from now, he's going to get his wife a triple 100 billion dipper.
Three triple dippers.
Triple nipple whipple skip. Whoa there. Family friendly.
Hey,
come on,
I'm just
man.
trying to rhyme.
Come on, man.
Yo. Well, yo. All right. So this is the part of the show where we ask you Satillionaires for your value in exchange for ours. So what do we value here on this show? YouTube subscriptions.
And watch hours.
Smash the subscribe button. When we reach 100,000 subscribers, we will select one of you at random and drop 10 million sats on your head. And just like number 89, Jarrett said, in 2060, that's going to be 10 million US dollars. So just do it, okay? You can also come on the show, satchats.com, to grab your slot in the studio today. Jarrett did it here when he came and visited us for Bitcoin Pizza Day. Jarrett, did you enjoy the experience?
Yes.
Was it difficult?
No.
Did you even have to prepare?
Nope.
No, you just literally show up, y'all. Our Lightning and on-chain Bitcoin addresses are also in the show notes. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are his own. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See ya.